Ethan Frome. By Edith Wharton. Introduction. I had known something of New England village life long before I made my home in the same county as my imaginary Starkfield, though during the years spent there, certain of its aspects became much more familiar to me. Even before that final initiation, however, I had had an uneasy sense that the New England of fiction bore little, except a vague botanical and dialectical resemblance to the harsh and beautiful land as I had seen it. Even the abundant enumeration of sweet fern, asters, and mountain laurel, and the conscientious reproduction of the vernacular, left me with the feeling that the outcropping granite had in both cases been overlooked. I give the impression merely as a personal one. It accounts for Ethan Frome, and may, to some readers, in a measure justify it. So much for the origin of the story. There is nothing else of interest to say of it, except as concerns its construction. The problem before me, as I saw in the first flash, was this. I had to deal with a subject of which the dramatic climax, or rather, the anticlimax, occurs a generation later than the first acts of the tragedy. This enforced lapse of time would seem to anyone persuaded, as I have always been, that every subject, in the novelist's sense of the term, implicitly contains its own form and dimensions, to mark Ethan Frome as the subject for a novel. But I never thought this for a moment, for I had felt at the same time that the theme of my tale was not one on which many variations could be played. It must be treated as starkly and summarily as life had always presented itself to my protagonists. Any attempt to elaborate and complicate their sentiments would necessarily have falsified the whole. They were, in truth, these figures my granite outcroppings, but half emerged from the soil and scarcely more articulate. This incompatibility between subject and plan would perhaps have seemed to suggest that my situation was after all one to be rejected. Every novelist has been visited by the insinuating wraiths of false, good situations, siren subjects luring his cockleshell to the rocks. Their voice is oftenest heard, and their mirage see beheld, as he traverses the waterless desert which awaits him halfway through whatever work is actually in hand. I knew well enough what song those sirens sang, and had often tied myself to my dull job till they were out of hearing, perhaps carrying a lost masterpiece in their rainbow veils. But I had no such fear of them in the case of Ethan Frome. It was the first subject I had ever approached with full confidence in its value, for my own purpose, and a relative faith in my power to render at least a part of what I saw in it. Every novelist, again, who intends upon his art, has lit upon such subjects, and been fascinated by.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?